Privilege and an honor to welcome the chair of America's Energy Dominance Council, U.S. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum. Mr. Secretary.
Good morning. It's such an honor to be here in Abu Dhabi with all of you, and I want to, as the MC and as Dr. Sultan has greeted all the highnesses, Your Excellency, the royal family, the ministers from so many countries that are here. Of course, all of you, I say welcome to all of you, but I also want to extend gratitude to anybody who's in the room, because if you're in this room, you're playing an important role in the future of this country. If you're involved in the energy business today, we stand at a critical moment of time. And that moment of time is a confluence of a number of things that are coming together. And some of those have to do with the advance of innovation. Energy has always been integral to national security, and energy has always been the underpinning of any nation's prosperity. But as the two of those things come together to now, we've got a point in time that we've not been at before. If we think back in history, just 150 years ago in the United States of America, Thomas Edison was in his lab going through 1,000 experiments, each time not being able to achieve the expected outcome of being able to capture the power of electricity and turn it into light. But that miracle happened, and that was a point in time when the world changed. A few years later, he hired a young Nikola Tesla. They worked together. This was 1879 in the 1880s, so about 150 years ago. And then about exactly 50 years ago, the personal computer comes on the scene. And the personal computer, again, another inflection, a point in time which started to change everything. Personal computer and software became the thing that extended human capability and human knowledge more than ever before. But the two weren't really connected, because the entire tech industry was able to move ahead using very little of the electricity of the world. I had an opportunity to work in technology for almost 3 decades before I got into policy and elected leadership. In the United States, the tech industry never used more than 1% of the nation's power. It was an afterthought. Capital expenses weren't even part of the tech industry. But today, Dr. Sultan delivering what I think was the best opening keynote at any energy conference ever. Come on, give it up for Dr. Sultan. That was amazing. That was incredible. Wow. I want to just keep sitting there and just hear more of that, and the slides. And I mean, I've never listened to a speaker go before me ever in my life where I agreed with every word they said, that was a first. But that was so timely. But as Dr. Sultan was quoting what I said yesterday morning, which is true, this point in time in history now, we've got a situation, because in all cultures, in all history, for all time, there's been, in almost every language, there's been a phrase that says that knowledge is power. But now, for the first time in history, we take the miracle of electricity and the invention and the innovation of computing, and we marry them together, and a kilowatt of electricity is more valuable than ever before, because it's not just turn on your lights. A kilowatt of electricity can be converted directly into intelligence. For the first time in humanity's history, we can manufacture intelligence. And that intelligence is a general purpose technology. It can be used by everyone. I've stopped calling these data centers, because a data center was a closed loop system between a company and its customers. But these are actual factories where we're manufacturing intelligence that can be used to advance medicine, to enhance education, to transform how we deliver healthcare. And as was shown this morning, it can be used in this industry and in every industry to dramatically increase the power and the efficiency of what that industry is doing. So the demand for this product is going to be incredible, because, of course, it's also going to be integral to defense. It's going to be integral to national security. So the demand signal, forget the noise, the signal is that the demand for power is going to go up and up and up. And as both Dr. Sultan and I have been saying, today is the day to announce that there is no energy transition. There is only energy addition. And we need to have more power to move people forward. We have 800 million people on the planet that don't have electricity today. And I will tell you one thing about capital. They talked about the trillions of dollars of capital. The capital is going to flow to where the lowest electricity prices are. You would never set up a manufacturing plant or say a mill to grind wheat into flour. You would not put that flour mill in a place where the cost of wheat was 3 times higher than it might be on the other side of a border. But why do we have prices changes? Why do we have some places in the world that have high energy costs and others low? Some of it has to do with physics. Some of it has to do with the gift and the glorious gift of abundance of natural resources that some countries have been blessed with. But a big chunk of it today, as all of you know, is policy. There's a set of policies that have been driven by an ideology around climate extremism that said the highest order bit, the most important thing, the thing that was above the human flourishing, a thing was above human flourishing, was the fear of the catastrophe of a degree of climate change in 2100, 75 years from now. But be afraid, be afraid, be afraid. Stop doing all this other stuff. What we need to do is make sure that we have the energy to drive the artificial intelligence, because the artificial intelligence is not just a product that can be sold. It is the thing that is going to drive innovation, an innovation cycle like none of us have ever seen. In the 30 years that I spent in tech, it was driven by Moore's Law. Moore's Law, everyone understands. You doubled the power of the speed of a chip in 18 to 24 months, and the price got cut in half. So what happened after the first cycle? Then you'd be 2x. Then it would be 4, then 4 became 8. 8 became 16, 32, 64, 128, 256K, and on, 5, 12, 10, 64. It was an exponential curve of increase in power in a drop of price, and many people could not understand, many humans couldn't understand the rate of change that was occurring because of that change. But what do we have now with AI and the advanced AI models? It's not Moore's Law. It's much, much faster than Moore's Law. If there's a CEO in this room that said, I looked at AI and I don't think it's a fit for our company, and you looked at that product a year ago, well, 6 months ago, there's a new AI model that was 10 times better than the one you rejected, and there's a new one coming out now that's 10 times better than the one 6 months ago. This isn't 2x. Some of these changes are occurring at a 10x pace, 10x every 6 months, not 2x every 2 years. So anyone who misunderstands how rapidly AI is going to affect your business and how your need for power is going to go up, I like to say, they used to say in the global brand of Kodak, they had a phrase when they would take a great picture, and it was called a Kodak moment. Well, there was also a Kodak moment where Kodak, one of the great brands, top 30 companies in the world, misunderstood how fast digital photography was going to overtake the film business. And Kodak moment had Kodak basically disappeared off the planet. There will be executives, there will be companies that have their Kodak moment because they do not understand the speed at which AI is coming and the impact it's going to have on their business. But that's not the case here. And I want to say again why we're so proud to be here today. The United States back in force at ADIPEC, 248 U.S. companies that are here after a bit of an absence the last 4 years, but we're back. We're so pleased in the relationship between the United States and the UAE. President Trump sends his greetings to all. He had such a fantastic trip here back in May. The importance of the entire Gulf region to the United States has never been more important. There's an understanding in this administration that we not only share values, but we share a belief, and we share a belief about energy policy. And I would describe President Trump's energy policy in 2 words: peace and prosperity. He is the peace president. He's resolving conflicts all over the world. Think of it, 1 year ago today, we're coming up on what was the election, almost today, a year ago. A year ago, the United States of America had a ban on LNG exports. We had a ban on building new LNG export facilities in our country. It made no sense to some of us who campaigned hard for President Trump to win. Since that time, there's been an unleashing. On day one, he turned that around. There was an unleashing of capital or unleashing of ingenuity. New capacity has increased to be able to export LNG. Our policy is to sell energy to our friends and allies so that they don't have to buy from our adversaries. For too long, and it's happening right now, the Russia and Ukraine war is being funded by energy sales. Terrorism across this region and around the world, funded by energy sales. We need to take this opportunity and grab this moment of peace, grab this point of the transition, the inflection point we're in right now, and bring energy to everyone, bring artificial intelligence to everyone, which will improve all lives, and bring peace to everyone. We have that opportunity to do that, but we need all of your help. We need all of your help to do that. And when I think about the opportunity that's in front of us, when I think about what can happen, when I think about how incredible the future can be, working together to pursue the goals that were described here today about energy and energy abundance, because energy abundance is what we're talking about. The energy to be able to have affordable electricity and affordable power, whether it's for aviation and for industry. And we talk about AI today, and we talk about AI in the form of digital, but the wave that's coming just right behind that is physical AI. Every new manufacturing plant is going to be filled with robotics that also need more power. Distribution centers are going to be filled with automation that need more power. Any industry that you can imagine is going to need more power tomorrow than it does today. And so with that, I would say again for policymakers, the key phrase, we need innovation, not regulation. Regulation is backwards looking. There are no history books talking about, the unelected bureaucrats who came up with a great idea to try to move their ideology to restrict innovation. That book doesn't exist. We want to fill the books with innovators and inventors. And for those of you that are here today, companies that are investing in R&D to advance energy, to make it more efficient, we can solve every problem together related to any issues you can imagine that people might think we might have with climate, including more accurate modeling, including better efficiency on how we do things. We can have clean air, clean water, clean soil health. We can have all of that. We can do both, as it said in Dr. Sultan's slide. We are living in a world of and, not a world of or. And when we do that, I want you to understand the United States is taking a completely different 180-degree change. We are for all forms of energy that are reliable, affordable, don't require subsidy, and provide base load, whether that's geothermal, whether it's nuclear, all of these things. But part of what that takes is also, it takes us to have critical minerals. And as you know, there's been some disruption and some threats to the supply chain of critical minerals. In the last few weeks, the United States has announced a framework for creating a club of nations to be able to trade across that club of nations in fair trade, to be able for refining and processing critical minerals. We invite any country that is interested in having a dialogue around that to join us. This effort began 2 weeks ago, and we have 6 countries, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Australia, and others that Thailand already signed up to do this, because we need to make sure that we cannot advance the industries that we're talking about without making sure that we all have access as a group of allies to those materials. So in conclusion today, I want to close with a challenge to all of you. I want to close with a challenge and with some gratitude. I want to again share my gratitude to the leadership of UAE and to His Highness, Your Excellency, the incredible reception we've had here from last night to yesterday to today, meeting so many people that are aligned and supportive. But Dr. Sultan, again, for your leadership of ADNOC and this conference, bringing people together that are saying that there is actually something more important than the regulations. And that thing that's more important than the regulation is the innovation that will solve all the problems that the regulators are trying to solve and then some. But we have to break free the human spirit, the ability to move forward and to take the power, this general purpose technology of AI, and apply it broadly and freely to so many different solutions. And when we do that, working together, there is really no limit to what we can accomplish. We can raise the standard of living for people around the world. We can bring electricity to those that don't have it. We can bring solutions. We can lower costs. But it all depends on affordable, reliable energy. And that's what this conference is about. So as I challenge all of you today, what can you do in your countries as policymakers? What can you do as business leaders? What can you do as entrepreneurs and innovators to have your own companies move forward more quickly? Because right now what we need speed to power. People have described the climate as an existential threat. Again, to help people understand U.S. energy policy, we were focused on two existential threats. One is Iran could not have a nuclear weapon. That was an existential threat. We've made some actions against that at least give us some breathing room. Hopefully with a dialogue, we can move to a world where we don't have to worry about that and there can be peace, extended peace in this region. But the second thing is the free world cannot lose the AI arms race. And for the AI arms race, you just don't need chips and you need software models, you need more electricity. And we were on a path in many parts of the free world with regulation that was actually trading off base load for intermittent, unreliable, highly subsidized, and costly. We need to make sure that we are committed to having enough power to drive and win the AI arms race. That's the message here today. And again, for that capital, for the policymakers, capital is going to flow. My example of the wheat mill is the trillions of dollars are going to end up in the places that have low electricity prices. If you're a business analyst, that's where you need to look at. If we have parts of the world, if we have groups of countries, if we have others that have so much regulation that they're forced to have high prices, then you're not going to see that capital. So together, let's get the capital flowing. Let's get the energy moving. Let's make sure that we can actually take the phrase and make it true, that not just that knowledge is power, but power is knowledge. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary. I'd like to invite the Ministers of Energy of the UAE, Qatar, and Egypt to the stage for a quick panel. We're going to be discussing today energy realities securing the future in an uncertain world. Your Excellencies, please join me.